What's shaking, YouTubeites? It's Thursday, so you know what that means. It's time for the CovrPrice.com Shakers of the Week
Shake it.
special on a special episode
If you
of
shake it
Awesome.
more than once, you're playing with it.
There's actually more than 10, surprisingly. So you could either go 13 for 13 or 0 for 13. Hopefully you don't go 0 for 13 because there's one interesting book in here that made the list. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. I see that there was some special requests for our DJ Lady Bits. Excuse me, Lady Parts is DJ Lady Style. My bad. So you know what? We're gonna switch
Drop
it up.
it.
I'm gonna give you some Ed Sheeran.
I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with your body.
There you
Nice
go,
shade.
you
Nice
you
shade.
deviant lady DJ Style from Paris, France. Did not know she was French, so I actually heard her speak. Just another dope DJ from Europe. Speaking of dope DJs, Darkside Jedi, say what's up.
Yo, yo, yo. Thursday night. Shake it up. There's a great issue on this list that I'm really excited about. So what do you think it is?
Well, we'll see. There's a lot of long words on these.
Does it rhyme
AK
with Walkman? Number door?
Yeah, Tony Stark, man. Sounds like it. Yeah, sure. Jack, say what's good to the people.
Oh man, what's going on? I'm actually back from your side of the country. I was at Rose City Comic Con this past weekend, so definitely great to be back in a convention capacity. Even though a little different now with vax
crowded was
cards. It wasn't. It really wasn't, to be honest with you. But I think a lot of that has to do with the way the convention hall really spread things out. You had to wear a mask. You had to bring your vax card, so there was a lot of extra that went into it, and certainly some people didn't want to participate. But it was still great to be out there. Like the heater books were all over the floor. People were not coming off those prices. But it was still
Which is
good
ridiculous because if you're figuring you're getting less attendees, hey man, you got to sell it where you can, right? You know.
Yeah, people were higher than eBay comps on most books that you would call key.
Oh, jeez. I mean, they probably see what's going on with the market right now. So
Everybody's
God.
afraid to sell. They're afraid to sell something that's going to be on the shakers list.
Yeah, we always
Well,
talk
if you
about
want to
those-
make some money, actually sell some books. Maybe
Sure.
now's the time.
We always
right?
we always talk about those booths that just go to cons just to set up the show off. Like
Yeah.
they
Oh, the
price
show
it.
off booths. Yeah.
Museums,
Yeah.
traveling museums.
Yeah, they price it to say, look at what I got, but nobody's really gonna pay for it. Torpedo. No, sorry. Hey, shout out to Ferd Bird the Nerd. Happy Thursday, peeps. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Yeah, we miss comedy legend passed this weekend. He had his cancer.
Yeah, I
from
didn't know he was
everybody.
sick at all. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, he kept it his cancer a secret, and at least privately, only to his inner circle, and nobody knew. But yeah, I remember him obviously from the Weekend Update, but I always remember him as Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Phenomenal.
Always messing with Alex Trebek, man. That's what I miss, man. Shout out to Leverage Comics also for the $4.99 super chat with nothing but just appreciate the $4.99 super chat. So shout out to you, Leverage Comics. This list is brought to you by our friends over at, let me bring up the graphics. Let me get through this so I can go see my skins lose. CovrPrice.com. This list comes from our friends over at CovrPrice, focusing on new sales or the most interesting sales found on their exclusive daily Shakers list. This list changes several times every day, so make sure you check it out every day to review some of the hottest trending books on the market. So like I said, this is kind of an interesting list because it's not over. Oh, before I get any further, Kara's Comics is not going to be going to Kara's New York City Comic Con. So the exclusive that they had for it, I don't know what's going to happen to it. So if you planned on seeing them, they pulled out last minute due to a lot of travel and all that other stuff. But unfortunately, not going to make it. So we shall see where they go. But you still get this bad boy. Last I saw, it wasn't sold out yet. So all you sneakerheads out there, go out and get it. So it could be sold out by now. But yesterday, typically they sell out the same day. But the last time I saw, it was still hot. This is the Amazing Spider-Man.
Look at the detail. I mean, if you look at that lace on the top, the first crisscross on the left side. I mean, you can. It's the shoelace is sheer. You can see through it into the shoe. That is so
almost like
awesome detail.
The lacing almost looks like it's webbing.
It's almost webbing. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, spider web laces. There you go. All right, so this also our friends at CovrPrice. Go over there. Just got up. Get anything in the KarasComics.com store. Use discount code of LOTLB to get 15% off, boys and girls. 15% off. They're always dropping exclusives. Unfortunately, nothing tomorrow, but they still got a ton of cool stuff over there, so make sure you hit them out. I should play this now. Well, I'm going to do it halfway through the show. We have a new sponsor for the show, but I'm going to keep that a surprise. I'm going to play it at toward the middle of the show so I get more eyeballs on it, but that'll keep you in suspense. All right, what do we got for the first one on the list?
All right, well, we're starting off with Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1 from Marvel in 1964. One of the hottest comic books related to the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home movie is Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1. This comic features all of our favorite Spidey villains together for the first time in one comic book. Known as the Sinister Six, many of the iconic villains pictured in the movie trailer or heavily hinted to be making an appearance include Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Electro, the Lizard, and Sandman. These iconic characters together in one silver screen have been 55 plus years in the making, and comic fans have been feverishly picking up copies of this book ever since the trailer dropped. We've seen some impressive sales, including a high-grade raw copy sell for a whopping $2,800. A CGC 1.5 hit $1,350, and a CGC 4.0 sell for $2,675, and a recent CGC 8.5 hit a dizzying sale of $13K. Be on the lookout for the ultra rare Canadian variant that has no ads on the front cover or inside-outside back cover.
Wow. I did not, I learned something. I did not know there was a Canadian version this early on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously in the Copper Age, that was like, everybody knows the Canadian variant. So, wow, there was a Canadian variant for this, what was this? Straight up Silver Age. That's pretty amazing, man. So, kind of like the worst kept secret in Hollywood, right? That Sinister Six are coming, that, we're going to get all three Spider-Men coming. I don't want to spoil Venom, but let's just say, whatever.
Read the tea leaves.
Should I spoil it? I meant we've reported.
If you don't know,
okay, it's not a spoiler because we talked about on this channel before from our man Mikey Sutton that Venom is eventually going to be incorporated into the MCU.
Yeah.
Sony wants Kevin Feige to produce it. I'll just leave it at that. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to my man J2 Ramirez, who is now a moderator. I should have made him a moderator a long time ago. He's been my homie since day one on Instagram. So shout out to my man J2 Ramirez holding it down with the wrench and everybody else in the live chat. But wow, we kicked it off with a banger. Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1. When I saw this list at first, I was like, Matt took it easy on this week. There's no like Chrome variant or that Google book or these other weird things. So, but a lot of people may have this because you've been specking on it for a while. So, Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1 from 1964. What do we got up next?
#2 this week is Darkhawk #1.
Easy. Everybody should get this one.
Yep. But this is the newsstand edition. So give yourself -half if you don't have the newsstand. This is from 1991. And prior to 2020, if you would have made the prediction that Darkhawk #1 would be $1,000 book in a 9.8, you would have been laughed out of your comic book store and probably given a nickname like that crazy Darkhawk guy or something worse. But that dude has totally been redeemed with last week's new high sale for a newsstand copy at $1,100. While Darkhawk is a long shot for an MCU film appearance, a Disney Plus appearance is not impossible, but we still have a long way to go, probably.
That's what we heard, that the Disney Plus is going to be developing some type of Darkhawk show. And I think also the new Darkhawk #1 and the new version of the Darkhawk probably help this, because, you know, it's like a ripple effect whenever like Marvel comes out with a new issue and they, you know, and the new Darkhawk is a totally different character.
Oh.
So I think it kind of spawns people to go, let me go get that other Darkhawk #1. But it's been slowly but steadily grabbing. But 9.8 for 1,100. Oh, wow, that's amazing.
I also think there's people of my age where I was a kid when Darkhawk #1 came out, and it was a heavily marketed launch, and it really felt like as a kid like it was going to be a big deal, and certainly it didn't end up being that. But it was like a lot of these new characters who launched in the 90s. But I think a lot of us are very nostalgic for, you know, our era and the books that released in our era. And I think that's why you're starting to see some of these early 90s books get a little more love as some of the kids who grew up in that era are starting to get buying power.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
And as
is
always,
king.
we have to throw the graphics. So 1990, direct market versus newsstand, or newsstand versus direct market, was 15% as opposed to 85%. So, you know, therefore some see value in that, right? I mean, you know, obviously it's rarer to have the UPC code if it was in the 90s. It's just one of those things, you know, so it's always good to throw up that handy graphic just in case you're wondering what the ratio is. So Darkhawk #1, the newsstand edition from 1991, has broken the $1,000 barrier mark in a 9.8. Wow. Amazing. All right, what do we got up next?
All right, we're sticking with Marvel, but we're talking about Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme #1. The Javier Rodriguez 1 in 25 incentive variant that Marvel released in 2016. And just updating our previous July 2021 note on this specific variant, when a raw copy went for $399.99. Newsflash, it's still hot. But, however, since that's a big sale, raws have settled down to the $200 to $275 range. Though the graded value just got higher with an all-time high CGC 9.8 copy hitting 610. This surpasses the previous high hit by a CBCS 9.8 back on July 22nd. So folks are still interested in that first appearance of Kushala, the Demon Rider, and Nina the Conjurer, in spite of the lack of substantive news. If $600 is too rich for your blood, but you like the spec, head over to CovrPrice to see the other less expensive yet related variants.
Yeah, I think the spec on this is, you know, obviously, you know, people going back and realizing there's like first appearances, you know, Nina the Conjurer, the Mindful One, and Demon Rider, Kushala. You know, so, you know, it's just in the market nowadays. It's like, you know, if any first appearance, you know, and they just, now that there's so many platforms that Marvel can put stuff out on, even even if it's not even what you considered in the 616, but maybe, you know, count, you know, close to the 616, but it's still canon supposedly. So, me, I'm happy because I'm a big Doctor Strange fan.
Did you consider this an organic
No,
price increase?
So Ryan, that's a great point. This is a character who speculators loved. So this thing got really pushed up because speculators love this. Now, I will say, for good reason, you know, my wife is Native American. So that's kind of a thing that I've always been aware of in comics, is that like hasn't been the greatest depictions throughout history. So Marvel made a point in the last several years of really trying to correct that. And I think that some of these newer characters of Native descent, I think, are really going to have a great opportunity for showcase in the future. But rarely do we see characters that are created in 2016 that get rise to this kind of
Mhm.
value without other media involvement. So
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it rose a little fast, but I think it still has legs and still one to look at long term. I would check out that list on CovrPrice. There's still some other books that are undervalued.
There is a lot of I have the one with him with the axe on the cover. You know, because I was pulling all of these at one time, and you know, my shop knows I'm a Doctor Strange collector, so I need to go dig my own long box to see what I have actually. Jeez,
And
'cause
speaking of Native American characters, didn't you have an LTS recently with
yeah, because
what is it, Red Wolf?
Red
Red
Wolf.
Wolf,
We saw Echo in that excellent Hawkeye trailer, which you know, this may be sound blasphemy, but this may take over Die Hard as a Christmas movie show. I mean,
It has that vibe, doesn't it?
yeah, I think the music was great. You know, it just, you know, people are gonna
look like an adult Home Alone.
exactly, yeah. So, we got to see Kate Bishop. We saw a quick flash of Echo. We saw Hawkeye. So, pretty fun little trailer there. So we got to wait till I think Christmas time, and the music was just perfect, spot on for it. Right? We saw the Tracksuit Mafia. We tried to throw a Molotov cocktail. We saw Pizza the dog. Pizza the Lucky the Pizza Dog. We finally got to see him. That was cool. So I mean, and if you watch the trailer, it literally showed like Mac Fraction's run on Hawkeye, right? The kind of the circle thing. I mean, throughout the entire trailer. So if you're not specking on those the Matt Fraction run a Hawkeye for Kate Bishop, man, go out and get it. That whole thing there looks like they're going full on using that storyline. So there you go, Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme, the Javier Rodriguez 1 in 25. Wow, $607 for 9.8. All right. This is actually a book we showed last week when I was going through and looking at it. So luckily it fell right in Ryan's lap.
Yes, it did. Right in my lap. I love Zatanna on my lap. Hawkman number 4 from 1964. And while there's no new news regarding Zatanna in an on-screen appearance, it doesn't seem to matter when it comes to the sales of super high-grade copies for her first appearance. There aren't just a lot of super high-grade copies out there, and with only 12 in CGC 9.6 condition and a mere 3 in CGC 9.8 condition, hardcore Zatanna fans watch closely for these near perfect copies to hit the market, as it's a rare occurrence. We've never seen a CGC 9.8 copy go up for sale, and then the last time we saw a CGC 9.6 copy sell was at the end of 2019. That's it until this week. A CGC 9.6 copy with off-white to white pages just sold on eBay as a fixed price sale for an all-time high of $20,000. That's double the last sale in 2019 when a copy went for $10,000. With Marvel and independents dominating the aftermarket, it's nice to see a sweet DC comic get some love.
20 G's.
20 grand, baby.
For 9.6.
I think actually that's undervalued.
No, before a long time
compared to what things are going for sale now.
Yeah, and plus they're not hard to they're not easy to find in high grade as well. I mean, 9.6. I'm CCG, give them a 9.8 already. Come on, jeez. I mean, they should give credit for a book this old as being in that great of a condition.
Right.
This is one of those books that I think when you look back at like those of us who have been doing this for like 10 years now, when you think about how attainable this book was in like low to mid grade 10 years ago versus where it is now.
Exactly.
I mean, you used to see this book and it was affordable, and it was one of those books a lot of us put off and said, yeah, I'll get it later. And you're not getting it now.
Yeah, I've had 3 copies, one raw, one 3.5, and I have in my collection that won't go anywhere as an 8.0, and that's probably as high as I'll ever be able to afford.
I think, if when she does come on screen, I think it's either Justice League Dark or was it a Zatanna solo series, or I forgot what it was. I mean, the news I barely remember yesterday, to be honest with you.
It was supposed to be the Justice League Dark HBO Max show. If they can do that and do that right, I think that's a crazy.
I don't see why they can't do it right. I mean, there's a lot of shows. If they get the right people, they could definitely do it. Look at Titans. I think that's fantastic. And if they can do it around those lines. Yeah,
as long as they have budget for
they need budget for Zatanna, and they need they need budget for all of it, because it's
Yeah.
Depends
Well,
on who's. It's
Titans
a lot
is
of
more
magic.
street level, so you don't really need to go that hardcore with special effects, right?
Well, no, they haven't.
Also, I think Titans is fantastic. I agree, but I hate to be like the negative one, but I don't think it has the impact overall on television that you would want from a Justice League Dark. And Justice League name carries a lot of weight. I think they want that to be a big horror series for them. And if you're going to bring in Constantine and everybody else, I think they want that to be a major success.
Yeah, and I think that's
yeah.
on J.J. Abrams' plate is doing
I
the,
believe
the
so.
Justice League Dark stuff. So we shall see. So not Zack Snyder, but J.J. Abrams. So we shall pay attention to November. November is
Let's
going
get
to be
someone that does horror to do that. I mean,
well.
now
Guillermo
that's
del Toro was originally attached to it.
Yeah, he was supposed to do it originally. I thought
Yeah.
that would have been great.
Yeah, and he's a great horror director.
because I just feel J.J. Abrams is going to be too. I don't know, too much lens
Well,
flare.
I don't know how much he's. I know he's producing. I don't know if he's going to be directing, right? But yeah. I mean, Guillermo del Toro was perfect, and
Yeah,
then that fell apart. So who knows what's going on over there? But pay attention to November. It's going to be 2 weeks where comic books are going to go crazy. It's going to be the DC Fandom event, and it's going to be the Disney Day. Not Disney Investor Day. It's a Disney Day because there's no San Diego Comic-Con this year, and they're not going to that whatever thing that first of all, it's all say the San Diego Comic-Con at home is a massive failure. I'm sorry. When you can only get 1,000 views for a San Diego Comic-Con panel, that's just a massive failure to me. But they just don't know how to market it that well. When IGN and these other channels are doing, they're getting 200,000-300,000 views for basically covering the same stuff. So we shall see. So in November, it's a 2 week span. You got DC Fandom first, then boom, and then Disney Day is going to be 2 weeks right after that. So get out your, like I like to say, get out your eBay tabs ready on your browser as soon as they announce this information, because that's I have had friends that went to Hall H, like our friend the Big To Do, and he says as soon as something is announced, he could see about about half the crowd immediately go on their phones and go on eBay. And that was the case when he goes when they announced that Natalie Portman was going to be back in Thor: Love and Thunder that's when that What If Jane Foster book really jumped up. Same day during Hall H while they were in there, everybody had their phones open, and so just if you think you're online, you can wait a few minutes. No, people are there waiting, and they have their phones ready and they're ready to go. So there you go. Call them whatever you want, but they're trying to get on top of the game, and that's what it is, man.
Can't hate on it.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, son.
The early bird gets the worm.
So I'm safe to say, get ready for your first offer on this list.
Well, yeah, you mentioned early bird gets the worm, and if you were early on Twitter earlier today, you'd have seen Matt DeVoe was giving little spoilers about this. But we're talking about Licensable Bear number 4 from About Comics in 2007. And whether you're political or not, or a fan of President Barack Obama, this is still a book you should keep an eye out for. It features the first appearance of Obama in comics. Per the Licensable Bear website, the issue hit stores on July 17, 2007, more than a year before the Obama administration in Savage Dragon, IDW's presidential material biography, or any of the ensuing appearances. Then Senator Obama appears on 2 pages in this black and white final issue while on the campaign trail. It's noted that there are only 1,050 copies of the first printing. This week, a rare copy sold for a new high of $170. As noted on the Licensable Bear website, there was a special second printing done as a fundraiser for the Hero Initiative, which was only 60 copies. 50 copies signed and numbered, plus 10 artist proof copies. And a different cover, which was based on the Shepard Fairey Obama Hope poster.
So if you read this, it's pretty funny. CGC wants you to help our hobby. Donate to the heroinitiative.org. Steve Borak paid $207.50 to have me say that. I love shilling for dough. The irony of this is Steve Borak is now the head of CBCS,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, it's kind of funny that, so this is how, if you're any part of the collectible community or world, Steve Borak end up I don't know when he started CBCS, but obviously, this is when he was still, part of CGC, and then, splintered off and did their own thing. But it's kind of funny how, he probably says, oh, look at that, my name and CGC, because, I don't know what his relationship is, but it's pretty interesting to say nonetheless. But
yes, I think it's cool. Aside from the Obama appearance, that's another unique item that makes this book collectible.
Fun fact, if you're into presidential first appearances, I do believe Astonishing Tales #1 is the first appearance of Richard Nixon. Okay, Astonishing Tales #1 is the one with Dr. Doom and Kazar. And it's also the first appearance of Buzz Aldrin and Armstrong. It's the weirdest things ever on the label. I looked up Richard Nixon's first appearance before, and they said it was a book in the 90s. But on the CDC, he actually appears in that Astonishing Tales #1, which is a Doctor Doom. I think it was a dual story. One story was Doctor Doom, and another story was Kazar. So look it up, Astonishing Tales #1, and look it up and look up the CGC label. It says Richard Nixon appearance on there. But Marvel.com though says that his first appearance is in some 90s weird book. But I'm telling you, boy, because I have this book that if you're into it, if you're like Triggedick, I'm not a crook.
If you're into comic book presidents.
Exactly. Halfway through the show, there's 174 of you watching. I want to introduce you guys to a new sponsor for the show that I talked to the CEO, and they're doing some good things. They've been promoted by both CGC and CBCS. So I'll just let the promo run and then talk a little bit about it.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
That is a very well done ad, right?
Sounds like a good deal to me. Shit.
So yeah, talk to My Slabs, and they are now sponsoring Lords of the Long Box show. What's interesting about them is 1% flat fee. That's it. They started in the card space, and now they're moving into the comic book space. The CEO I talked to is from the comic book world. He started with original art and in the comic book, so he knows how. Most people have known it for its trading cards, but My Slabs is a peer-to-peer marketplace created by collectors for collectors who are seeking an alternative to high auction and consignment fees that have become standard in the hobby. Yo, I just sold a book on eBay for $750 and I netted $650. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of fees.
That's a lot of fees.
All the inventory, pricing, and content of My Slabs is uploaded and controlled by our sellers. Users are free to buy or sell slab cards, sealed wax, and now slab comics and digital collectibles. So that means you can actually buy NFTs on there. Are now available while benefiting with the most with digital collectibles, all while benefiting from the most disruptive pricing model in the industry. So if you're tired of eBay, which I just got thoroughly fleeced on, and just to get paid out, I was like, "Where's my money?" I thought I had it. It was set to pay every day, but I had to go in there and then set it again for some reason. Then they finally sent me my money. So there you go. People are friends at MySlabs.com. Pretty easy to sign up. I signed up for it. So they're building up their comic. They have a lot of comics on there. So people out MySlabs.com, man. All right, what do we got up next?
Number 6 on the list is Plasm #0. This is from Defiant back in 1993. And after Jim Shooter departed from Valiant, he created a new comic company called Defiant. The flagship title for the new company began with Plasm #0, which has several unique methods of distribution. Most of the print run was included as an inset in the previous catalog. Others were standard copies passed out by Shooter, which is where most of the high grade copies sprung from, and another via a Premier edition that was a series of trading cards that, once fully collected, you would place them in an album and read the full comic book. Whatever way you find this book, it's quite difficult to find due to Marvel suing Shooter over the use of the character that UK Marvel used to call Plasmer. Defiant lost and had to change the title from Plasm to Warriors of Plasm, where Marvel continued their legal pursuit. Defiant eventually won the rights to use their character, essentially to shutter the company in 1995 after legal fees financially wiped them out. This book also only has one staple, which creates scarcity in high-grade copies. Case in point, this week's 9.6 CGC hit a new high of $699. It's worth noting that standard copies sell for around $75, so keep an eye out there for this book.
That is so weird, man. Jim Shooter. I wonder why he called it Defiant Comics. For those asking,
Right?
all payments through MySlabs is done through PayPal. You want something like PayPal to control it so that you have buyer and seller protection. That's why they use PayPal, but they only charge you 1%, where other places will charge you 10% flat fee and the claim whatever. So, I had a long talk about them, and so typically I don't talk about sites that I don't use, and from what they're doing, what they're trying to do. And from what eBay is doing, eBay doesn't give a shit about comic book collectors. I'm sorry, they just don't. Unfortunately, they have the most eyes right now. So, but they also have grading cards on there. So I have a PSA 10.0 Ghost Rider card. Maybe I'll throw it on there, man. I don't know if it's worth anything, but you never know, man. Plasm issue number 0 from the once Defiant Comics. Don't know how long that lasted for, but it's ironic that Defiant Comics had to close their doors because of the legal fees that they incurred. So
From being
all right.
defiant.
All right, Jack gets this one. This is the first one where you can be 1 of 4, 4 for 4, or 0 for 4, because this is a 4 for maybe.
Forfer.
And I'm immediately reminded of you talking about moments where people are in Hall H buying books. At this point, I think when these signings get announced, people need to react that way, because we are talking about Robert Downey Jr. covers. And it was recently announced that CGC is hosting a signing event with Robert Downey Jr. The event costs $750 per signature, or $1,160 if you want him to write Iron Man or Tony Stark. Those looking to submit a book for signature must have their books to CGC by December 3rd. With that news, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man covers went nuts. Invincible Iron Man #1 movie variant near mint copies are selling for $50. Invincible Iron Man #25 movie variant near mint copies are selling for $250 to $300. Iron Man #9 movie variant is selling for $64, and Iron Man #10 movie variant is selling for at least $10. Keep in mind that these prices will go down as we get closer to December. The increase in price and sales are simply buyers looking for high-grade copies to get it signed, giving a significant premium to raw copies over graded copies. The Invincible Iron Man #25 cover is clearly the most valuable, as it features him in costume and his face visible, hence the super high price for those right now. This is one book to be keeping. This is one book where the timing to sell is now.
I kind of like the one in his Iron Man suit where he's
number 10.
got the heroic kneel right there.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm partial to. But damn, $750 per sig, and it caused. Okay. I would say during the pandemic, CGC has had some really weird signings, right? Like you wouldn't just some random actors. Like, what are they going to sign, right? But we're talking Robert Downey Jr. here, who pretty much birthed what we consider the MCU, signing us a comic book at CGC, which seems to be, if you think $750 is expensive, I went to Star Wars Celebration, and they had Signature Alley, right? And they had menus of everything. Like Mark Hamill was like $300. I think Princess Leia was like $275, $300. So, I mean, Mark Hamill's high up there in geeks, but I mean, Robert Robert Downey Jr. is a freaking mega superstar in the box office, right? Albeit, a couple of misses lately with Doolittle and some other movies, but man, $750 a cig. Wow. But they're selling because, I think there will be some, because how many books can people say, hey, I have an Iron Man book? Because there's lots of these books exist where they have actors signing something, right? Like you see maybe Momoa sign an Aquaman book or something along those lines. What really impressed me is somebody has like Tales of Suspense, whatever, the first appearance of Iron Man and gets Robert Downey Jr. to sign it. How much do you think that would be worth? Right.
That's incredible. Yeah.
That would be absolutely nuts. It'd be more even entertaining if they actually filmed the signing to have him like, just talking, because just quibbling or, just talking about stuff while he's signing it. But it's just, I guess, CGC has to do things while they don't have conventions because, during conventions, that's a big time for their signature time, right? Because pretty much they got tons of people on Artist Row that they can get signatures for, because I remember talking at San Diego Comic-Con to what they called the runner, the guy that followed you.
Yep.
And he had an odometer on him. And he said, yeah, I did 6 miles today. Walking around San Diego Comic-Con, witnessing signatures. I was like, good Lord.
I think, though, it's worth noting, though, that I think Robert Downey Jr. is doing this to raise funds for charity. So I think that's where his motivation to do this is. Certainly, a guy like Robert Downey Jr. doesn't need the money, and I think that's where the inherent value comes in the signature. Is that you're not seeing him at conventions. There's certain actors in the MCU where they've done conventions over the last several years, so that some of these books exist. There really isn't Robert Downey Jr. signed books on the market. You have to get really lucky to get his signature. So I think that's where a lot of that like pricing comes in. And again, it's going to charity. So
did CGC advertise? Did they promote that part about the charity part? You would think they would, that would be a big.
He did 2 posts on his Instagram.
Yeah,
about it. And I know he heavily promoted the charity.
Yeah. I think CGC should be promoting that as well, as opposed to Robert Downey Jr. Because and then it'll get more people to want to do it because they have to just. If you say $750 signature, but you saying hey, the proceeds are going to charity, and Robert Downey Jr. obviously doesn't need the money, right? But CGC is making a ton of money off of it, so they say it's going for charity, then that would help a whole lot in the marketing of it. So. There you go, man. So your opportunity to get 4 for 4, add another 4, or miss another 4 on the list. So first time ever, a 4 on the list. Iron Man #1, the movie variant. Iron Man #25, the movie variant. Iron Man #9, the movie variant, and Iron Man #10. I remember when photo variants of actors on comics weren't worth anything. Right,
they were almost like poo-pooed in a way. Like, why? Nobody would want like the photorealistic stuff.
I have a photo. Do you remember the Star Wars cover with the Han Solo on it from like OG Han Solo on it? Mm-hmm. I have that one, and it's a photo cover of him on there. But nobody wanted that anymore. But like I said, 2021 is a brave new world, and the world's or whatever you want to call it. I mean. You got to adjust with you have to adjust with the marketplace or move to the side and let them go by you. Don't complain about it because it's what's going on in the market, right? I mean, either you like it or you don't. But if you don't, other people there's going to be 10 people behind you that like it, and they're going to jump ahead of you and then do it. And then you're going to see these books on eBay going for let's say $750 signature. They're going to ask $2,000 for it, is my guess, maybe more, depending. Because if you look, let's say the 25 is selling for $250 to $300. How much do you think they're going to add that? So they're going to add in the cost of the grading and the signature fee. So that puts that book at $1,000, right? If they pay $200, $250, $300. But like Matt says, just wait a little bit, let it calm down. And, the market always, it's always first to the market. It's like technology. First adopters, you always get the benefits, but also you get the downsides. You get all the bugs that the system has to work out. Anytime you buy something brand new, like, the first iteration of a phone, you have to wait for, 10 system updates later, and then it finally doesn't shut off on you. Talking to you, Samsung. Anyway, that's just my own personal issues. All right, so these Invincible Iron Man books with Robert Downey Jr. on the cover. If you just see them, if you see Robert Downey Jr. picture on a cover of a comic, go and get it. That's all I'm saying. Next up is probably my favorite book on this list.
And we got Spawn number 151, the Philip Tan wraparound. And when Spawn passed issue 100, the print run started shrinking quickly. By issue 151, after a short surge in sales for 150, the print run was super low until issue 260. It's unknown what the run was, but these issues are some of the most sought after issues for Spawn completists. Then you add in a variant. It gets exceptionally challenging. This wraparound B variant by Philip Tan is a perfect example of what this low print run can do. This week, a 9.8 sold for a new high of $800. If you come across Spawn issues from issue 151 to 260, do yourself a favor and grab them.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the colors on this thing. This thing absolutely
awesome.
pops
Yes,
with
it
Philip
does.
Tan, and it kind of shows all the villains of the Spawn universe, right? And we've talked about this before. And our man King of the Golden State was ahead of the game, where he found one of those. What was it like? It was like
the 1 in 5,000s or something crazy.
it was like Spawn 180 or 181. He bought it for like $5, and he sold for $3,000 raw.
Oh,
Okay.
that one, yes.
That one, yeah. So there's just some random Spawn books in there. Spawn started with a really large print run, because it was Image and it was doing, and then eventually it's putted out. But it's amazing that it's still going. I mean that it's still doing what it's doing. I don't, will we ever see a Spawn trailer? I don't know. Will the movie be good? I don't know. It's kind of like Malignant. It's a movie. It's trippy. I don't know if it's good. I just know it's kind of creepy. So, I mean, that's what I expect from a Spawn movie. I don't know if it's good or if it's bad, but it's creepy. But we shall see, man. So, 119 to 260. Thank you, Joe Seaborn. Says those are the issues to look for in Spawn. Just like Ryan says, every like a certain disease that pops up every 3 or 4 months, we just get Spawn. There's something behind this. Something is happening. I mean, obviously Spawn has a huge cult following, right? From kids
But it's
who grew up
always
watching
on a list. Always.
the HBO animated series, maybe even kids who like the movie, to us who bought it, in 1992 when Image was all the rage, and Spawn was probably, of all the Image books, I think Spawn and Wildcats were probably the best as far as art wise, right? I mean,
Well,
every
come on.
issue, I devoured every issue of Spawn, panel by panel, just because the art was just so fantastic. Same with Jim Lee on the Wildcats. Also, a little. Only my own little favorite. It was Wetworks. You guys remember Wetworks? Yes. And an Image book called Weapon Zero, which is still one of my all-time favorites, with some great art on it. If you ever get a chance to find Weapon Zero in the wild, I just, if it's cheap, get it. It's a fun little read, and the art is absolutely fantastic. Weapon Zero from Image Comics. I'm trying to remember who the artist was. Someone in the live chat will probably know, because our live chat is the best. Who was the creative team on Weapon Zero? I think it was Walt Simonson was the writer, but he didn't do the art. I'm trying to remember who did it. Someone in the live chat, go ahead and drop it in there, Weapon Zero. I'm pretty sure you have Google open, but go ahead. So Spawn number 151, Philip Tan, kicking it hardcore. Wow, I wonder how, man, this is like early Philip Tan from 1992, right? If you think about it, man, 1992 was, holy cow, that was like almost 20 years ago.
God,
wow, Ryan, you're
insane
getting old, dude.
I am definitely getting old.
All right, what do we got up next?
What's a list without a little Star Wars action? We're talking about Star Wars Legacy number 1, the WonderCon Anaheim variant from Dark Horse in 2013. CovrPrice highlighted this book back in March 2020 when it was hitting $100 raw as one to watch. Well, this week a raw copy sold for a big $400 raw, which supports the even bigger raw copy that sold in July 2021 for $510. We weren't sure if that was a fluke, which is why this week's $400 price seems significant. This particular Star Wars Legacy issue features the first appearance of Aeneas Solo, a distant descendant of Han and Leia. We're not sure where this falls in all of the various Star Wars Disney content, but we do know that this 2013 WonderCon variant, limited to just 1,000 copies, with Aeneas on the cover, is one to keep an eye on.
Yes, our anti-hero collectibles. Yeah, 30 years ago. I was like 1992. I forgot to carry the zero. So yeah, Star Wars Legacy #1, the WonderCon.
Wait a minute, that
Anaheim.
means I'm even older. Shit.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, and we're getting older as the show goes on.
God.
So I was telling the guys in the live chat my story about this because this was a super rare book because WonderCon Anaheim wasn't what WonderCon is now. So if you rewind back, WonderCon was a show that was actually for a decade or two in San Francisco at the Moscone Center, right? It was called the San Francisco Comic-Con or something like that. The Moscone Center was getting remodeled, and they moved WonderCon down to Anaheim in 2012. And it never moved back ever since. 2013, I believe, is when they actually dubbed it WonderCon Anaheim, and I went to that one too. Fun fact, in 2010, there was actually a Anaheim Comic-Con, which was one of the worst shows I've ever been to. I got Kato Caitlin had a booth at this show.
my God.
The only cool, like I was telling Ryan earlier, but I did get a cool picture. Black Belt Jones himself, Jim Kelly was there.
Awesome.
Raj from What's Happening was there. It was interesting to see artists. It's always interesting to see like Celebrity Row on these shows that aren't like San Diego Comic-Con, right? Like, I mean, sometimes you get some real C-listers on there, but man, this Anaheim, because I remember it was like called Anaheim Comic-Con in 2010, and then I guess after that they really wanted, and then so really they never went back to the Bay Area because Silicon Valley Comic-Con ended up happening. So I guess they thought they don't need to, but they should do it now. But either way, Anaheim now has WonderCon, and I'm glad because it's 15 minutes away from my house, and it's one of my favorite shows actually to go to because there's actually a lot of comic book vendors there. So Star Wars Legacy #1, the WonderCon Anaheim variant from Dark Horse from March 2013. All right, last one on the list, boys and girls. We can't have this list without a horror book.
Yeah, baby. Last but not least, the Vault of Horror #30. This is from EC back in 1953. And you know how much we love pre-horror code books. So when we saw this one, Johnny Craig hanging hand cover, it hit a new high sale of $2,000 for a CGC 8.5. It had to be included on this list. You absolutely never see covers like this anymore. And even with the absence of the comics code, you still don't see these kind of covers. We never went back to what they were doing in the 50s and 40s.
Man, not only you have a severed hand holding onto a subway rail, but you got to also have floating heads for Floating Head Friday. You got the Vault Keeper, the Crypt Keeper, and the Old Witch. Obviously, the Crypt Keeper is probably the one that's, is the same.
It is the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt. It used to be like an anthology show on HBO, I think, Cinemax,
show.
and they eventually
HBO.
made a. Because I remember he used to have this cackling laugh, and it was like a kind of talking skeleton guy, But man, I'm telling you, so it's cool to see. I wonder what's the first appearance of the Crypt Keeper. I know it's definitely not this book because it would be more than that. So I'm pretty sure somebody in the live chat knows.
Maybe it's Vault of Horror #1. Who knows?
Yeah.
Look it up.
I know my man Josh is a big fan of horror, man. So, I wonder. Somebody tell me what the first appearance of the Crypt Keeper is. And while you're looking that up, let's go see what's shaking today, boys and girls, on the CovrPrice website. Look at that. I got this down to an art now. Look at that. Seamless transition. Or did it? No, I guess it didn't. I thought I was cool for a second. Here we go. Share. And voila. Look at that. Look at that. Even my pretty face shows up on there. You can add your picture on there as an avatar. There's our weekly top 10. These are the movers. Kind of look at that. Spider-Man moving. Hey, you know what? I picked this up. Maze book. Glad to see this book.
Is that Jeff Lemire?
Yes, it is. Yeah, this dropped on Wednesday actually. 23 units sold in the aftermarket for those.
It looks like one he drew and wrote.
Yeah. So, wow. So we didn't talk about Amazing Fantasy last week with the record sale, but I guess whoever couldn't get that had to get the crumbs from that one.
Hey.
And a 1.8 sold for $28,100.
That's a lot of crumbs.
Man. My God, I remember you can get a
$3,000.
I remember you can get a 3.0 or 4.0 for about $7,000. Those days are long gone, my friend. Black Knight. This is the original Black Knight. Not really Marvel. This is an Atlas Comics version of it, but this is his first appearance, not in 616 continuity, obviously, but from May 1st, 1955, 3,900 for a 4.5. People saw Kit Harington that said, yo, we need to see him. Kit Harington is big, Silver Surfer, typical suspects on here. I like this Hulk book. Let me take a look at this one. Incredible Hulk issue number 4. Love this. You never see this anymore.
No.
Covers nowadays is just art. There's no action. Rarely if there's ever action. There's no dialogue. There's nothing. But look at here.
They make covers that have nothing to do with the story.
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah. Look at this one. It tells you 2 feature-length Hulk thrillers in this issue. One called The Monster and the Machine. One called Mongu, the Gladiator from Space. Fantasy as you like it.
Mongo.
And, and to me, that has Stan Lee hyperbole written all over it, right? He loved to be, that's why he called things like the Incredible Hulk, the Savage She-Hulk, the Invincible Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk.
Paste Pot Pete.
Paste Pot Pete, yeah. Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, things of that nature. Here we go, Ryan.
There you go.
We got some DC books.
I love this cover. This is probably my favorite Joker cover.
Neil Adams love right there, right? This is Neil
classic.
Adams. Batman number 251, classic cover by Neil Adams, as it shows. It's a key issue. 1150 for an 8.5.
I think that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. 8.5. If you get Neil Adams to sign it, maybe end up being a 7.0 though, because he kind of likes to flip through his books.
He sure does.
We actually. Okay, so here's why I know something is going on, right? We talked about this. Jack, you weren't on the show last week, but this was on the. This showed up when we were looking through big sales of the week and we did this last Thursday. I think 2 days later they announced that Grendel was getting a live action series on Netflix. So that just goes to prove you there is a secret cabal of collectors, or at least people who are involved in Grendel, who told their friends who are saying, "Hey, we're doing a Grendel series." One tells another, and boom, $999 for a raw comic. Good luck even finding this. Right? When's the last time you seen a primer number 2 in public?
Never.
Yeah, just impossible.
Go back up real quick. Go to that Soup World's Finest. Is that the first appearance of Tom Sparks?
I don't know. Let's see. Introducing the brand new hero, Tom Sparks. Look at the big brain on Brad. Yeah.
There you go.
I love the DC Golden Age covers. They're just so goofy. You got Robin playing a robot here in a game of chess, supposedly, mentored by the world's greatest detective. So we'll see how he did. 7.0 sold for $1,000. Not bad at all, man. And it just goes into one of the most things about DC and the early Golden Age books, or the Golden Age, they did a lot of yellow covers.
They really did.
I thought I was crazy when I saw this, but I was like, hey, look at all these Action Comics. Most of them have yellow covers. And I was thinking, it's got to be something to do with the colors or printers, or were cheaper back then to do yellow covers. But
Zoot Comics.
Oh, come on. How can we not talk about Zoot?
Not talk about this one.
Look at that.
Rula, Jungle Goddess.
Exciting new Rula. Jungle Goddess. It looks very Betty Page-ish to me.
Yes, she does.
This is Zoot number 7 from Fox Comics, 1947. $600 for 6.5. This is it's just now. I remember at one point, old comics, just because, weren't worth anything. That has totally changed. Like old comics, people are realizing, you know what? These old comics, they're not easy to come by. If I slab them or whatever. Oh man, I love this book. I at one point I think I had this entire run. It's awful storytelling, but it's goofy fun because it reminds me of my youth when there used to be a Godzilla animated series on Saturday mornings on NBC. If you remember that, this is Godzilla King of Monsters from 1977, 9.8 and 665. Wow. This was easily a $200, $300 book in a 9.8 back then. Good to see Godzilla on there. Also, one of my favorite issues or runs of all time is Shogun Warriors. Just because they're Shogun Warriors, right? But, oh my God, if you try to read it, it is awful storytelling. It is not good at all. Here you go. This is for you, Ryan.
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
For some reason,
that young girl looks really old for some reason.
I read Dairy Secrets. Like they were in a barn. For some reason, my dyslexia kicked in, and I thought it was Dairy Secrets. It's actually Diary Secrets. So from 1955 from St. John Comics, $5.45 for a 4.5.
Yeah.
Just one of those weird kind of romance novel comic books back then. I wonder who were they making these for? Little boys or little girls? I just don't know. I just don't know. Ooh, look at this one. Who remembers The Haunt? This is McFarlane, Kirkman, Ryan Otley, and Capullo. That is one hell of a team. If you think about now where they all now are now, right? Todd McFarlane, Robert Kirkman, Ryan Otley, Capullo, $4.75 for 9.8. Look at all these covers he did. Look at that. Whatever happened? I wonder how many issues this ran. But that's pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool. Look at all the other covers on here. It's pretty dope too. God. All these big names behind it, and the Haunt never picked up. But who knows? Maybe they saw it now, and some Hollywood producers like saying, "Hey, did you ever do a comic called The Haunt? Maybe I can put that on Netflix or something. We need stuff on there." Speaking of Tales of the Crypt, here's another one. Oh, that's like that gives me anxiety just watching.
There's a movie, Ryan Reynolds, where
Yes,
he's trapped
I
in a
cannot
coffin.
watch that movie. I am claustrophobic. Oh my god, I can't even go inside MRI. That's how claustrophobic I get. I gotta
take Xanax.
No, they kind of. I asked. They prescribed me Valium before I go in there, and then I don't remember getting out of there. They go, "You have to need somebody to pick you up." I can handle it. I said, "Where do what?" You're finished.
So tea leaves. You saw a Black Knight #1 from Atlas, and now look at this. You got it on Avengers.
Yeah.
Number 48.
This is the first. Nah, this isn't the first appearance. This is the first cover appearance. 47 is actually the first appearance. So even so, 47, or I guess you say it's a cameo, but 47 and 48 kind of going, but this is obviously the one that, he's features on the cover. 550 for 4.5. I mean, you don't hire Kit Harington for the Eternals and not do more with them, right?
Yeah, that's my logic with that too. That's got to be a long-term play.
Hey, Star Trek fans, when have you seen a Star Trek book on the list?
Wasn't it just Star Trek Day like last week or something? I remember some posts about it. I didn't really pay attention because they were all from nerds and virgins. I'm just kidding, Trekkies. I love you. You know I love you. I'm just kidding. Gold Key. I remember good old Gold Key, man. Star Trek #1 from 1967. $3.90 for a raw comic. It was either last week or a week before. I saw it trending on Twitter. They were like, Happy Star Trek Day. I remember that. Hey, this is, I believe, from our man Ken Lashley.
Yeah, this is hot.
Yeah. Ken Lashley variant. Man, he owes me some. I asked him for a couple of signed copies. So Moon Knight, this is obviously the most recent iteration of it from July 2021, $3.50 for 9.8. This is the Virgin variant, which the logo typically goes right here. Or do I have it? I remember asking him. It was a con exclusive for some show that Ken Lashley went to. I'm trying to think what it was, but yeah, he was bringing them there, and then I was asking, "Do you have any copies?" He goes, "I don't even have them yet." So
another Zoot on the list.
I want to show this one because I love Michael Turner. Spider-Man 2. This is a San Diego Comic-Con 2017 Virgin variant. I do believe this is the first appearance of Evil Miles Morales, if I'm not mistaken. It's not even in the credits here, but $3.50 for 9.8. But just look at that cover. That is so gorgeous. Michael Turner, rest in peace, man. You left too soon, man. Left too soon. But his art seems to pop up everywhere. Okay, we got to talk about this. This book is going to blow up, I think. I mean, do you see those circles when I was talking about from the trailer? It's like totally pulling from Matt Friction's run. I mean, the entire trailer has these circles in it. So, I mean, in this, you also see that's where the Tracksuit Mafia comes in. Pizza Dog comes in. First appearance of Arrow. Lucky later becomes Lucky the Pizza Dog. There you go. People saw Pizza Dog. They go, I gotta have it. But this was done today because the trailer dropped 2 days ago. When did the trailer drop?
Was it yesterday?
I have no
It all
concept of
blends
time
together.
anymore.
It really
I
doesn't.
actually woke up this morning thinking it was Friday. So what do I know?
Oh, me too.
$3.50 for 9.8. First appearance of Pizza Dog, and Pizza Dog did make his little appearance on the screen, which everybody had to ooh and ah over. So. That's it, boys and girls. Yeah, man. So that's it. Not gonna keep you guys captive anymore since it's 7:00 and we finish over our last hour. Hey, Darkside Jedi, any last words?
No, I won't keep you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bolo.
No, I'm gonna go get caught up on Titans.
Oh, you know what? I do have last words. I finished that just before the show. Dude. it just keeps getting better. They're alluding to something. I don't know. We'll have to talk about it after.
That's right.
You see it because they're alluding. I think they're alluding to something beyond Titans. So I don't know. We'll see. See how it pans out.
Yeah, I don't know. The actor who played Red Hood, it was kind of annoying to me at first, but I guess he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be annoying at first, and he looks small. Like when he doesn't have his mask on, he looks like he's 5'5". Then when he becomes Red Hood, he's like 6 feet tall. I guess that's movie magic for you. So, hey. We promise either tomorrow or Saturday, we're going to do the 7,000 subscriber giveaway contest. We have a bunch of entries. We need to do this while we're sitting on all these cool stuff to give you guys. Really appreciate you guys for supporting the Lords. All of our sponsors, CovrPrice.com, KRSComics.com, the Geeky Swag Shop, Comic Tunes and Toys in Tustin, California, Rocket Comics, and our new sponsor, MySlabs.com. So make sure you all give them and show them the same support you give us. And we will see you. Pay attention to my social media. Still trying to get down as many Lords as I can to do the giveaway. So ready. Make sure you enter. The video is still up, and you'll have until the day of the video because we're going to pull the winner. The grand prize winner is going to be pulled from that video where we just do a randomizer. So we will see.
And we'll probably, reward the chat too.
Yeah, we're going to give away stuff in the live chat because Ryan has some
plenty
stuff.
of stuff. Yeah, we got some.
We got tons
trade
of stuff to give away,
and all sorts of stuff.
We'll have at least 20 or 25 winners. I'm just kidding. No, at least the grand prize winner, and then we'll probably give away like 6-7 things in the live chat. So for AKA Mr. Bolo, Darkside Jedi, this is TiVo. Keep digging in them long boxes, and peace out.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select, and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is update. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back! Can't do my job! You can't get fresher than this. In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind. When it comes, I won't even notice. Oh, how so? I'll be too busy looking good. You can't understand.